Hi, welcome in or welcome back. Today I'm going to complete the first 1,000 days in this world. But before then, I have a ton of small projects I'd love to have done. Let's quickly run through the plan. I'm going to build a large smelter just beside my new auto storage. From there, I want as many small farms done as possible. I'm thinking Netherwart, sea pickles, glowberry, Lichen, coral fans, scute, sniffers, cactus, dripstone, and multiple flower farms. And we only have about 60 in-game days to get all of that done. It's currently day 939 and I want to be finished and back here at spawn at the end. So let's go. This tunnel is going to be my exit to the auto storage that we built last episode. I'll make myself an exit tunnel that heads straight out this way. Just down to the left of that, I'm going to dig out an area for this super smelter to live. The control room will be at the same level as the storage floor, and most of it will then go below somewhere down here. We won't see the furnaces in the end, they'll be down here and I'll be up there. Let's start by digging out at least a 2-high tunnel all the way to the front door. It'll be an easy way in and out of the storage, and it'll tell us right away exactly where the entrance will be. And here we are, nearly exactly where I planned. Once we get this spawn-proof and safe, it'll be a nice exit from the storage. I'll widen it later to be able to fly in and out safely, and we'll have easy access to the nether and the rest of our city as well. Okay, onto this super smelter. I do need to clear some of the stone, so one quick beacon later, we can get started. So this is what it looks like coming down the storage hall. I'll wall off this little section so it won't look like this. And that's out to the real world. And then when I come around this corner, we're straight into the smelter control room. The smelter is 198 furnaces large, and items to be smelted are dropped in full shulkers down into the chest here. It's all powered by shulkers of fuel input from up here, and behind me is the output, which returns full shulkers of cooked items and empty boxes. On the wall are a bunch of manual furnaces, so I can use this room for small smelting projects as well. Let's quickly make a shulker of coal to power this. I can choose whichever fuel source I want and may change it later, but for now it's easiest to start with coal. It's time to test it out. We'll drop a shulker of sand into this chest here, and then that shulker of coal we just made into this side. We'll give those a second to get into the system, and then we can fire it up. This will almost definitely not be the last super smelter in this world. I have plans to build a much larger one if I keep surviving, but 200 furnaces will more than get us through for now. Back at the output, the glass finished in just a few minutes, and that's a huge quality of life upgrade, going from 3 manual furnaces, or the 60 manual furnaces at the Wither Skelly farm. This is a huge change. This is going to help a lot. The next farm I want to put together is a Netherwart farm. Automatic Netherwart farms still all require manual replanting, so I'm going to make it at least a bit of fun with minecart harvesting trips each time. If you were here for the auto storage last episode, you know I have a 16-stand potion brewer, and I'm going to need this Netherwart soon to fill it all up. I want to collect the materials for the sea pickle farm while we're at it. Both farms will be done on the mushroom island and near each other. The sea pickles will be a great source of lime dye now that we have a super smelter. It will also be useful in some of the future technical farms I plan to make. The Netherwart farm requires soul sand, and I ran out while building the Hoglin farm, so I need to do just a little bit more piglin bartering. And it will never not be amazing to me how fast 200 piglins can trade 9 stacks of ingots. And they're done. Let's go build another Netherwart farm. I have a lot to do, so I'm going to keep moving quickly through these farms. Next on the list is our coral fans farm. Coral fans are extremely useful when you want to build almost anything that uses TNT duping. This farm is by Nicolier and won't take me long. I know this is spawn proof already, but I'd like to be able to see, so let's add some light here. And these chests hold, well, you guessed it, more bone meal. I didn't bring a lot, so we'll just dump in a little bit for now. And then around here is where I'll stand, so let's add one more light to the end of this. Now if I use this farm with shears, you'll see that all I get is seagrass. Good for turtle farm, bad for TNT. But if I use a silk touch pickaxe, I can collect the coral fans themselves. When I built the auto brewers, I thought about what potions I'd want in the system. One of the most underused but actually useful potions is a turtle master potion made with a turtle helmet. That requires a scute farm. I also use a lot of turtle eggs in farms, so I thought putting a little turtle breeder next to this would be smart. While getting turtles to breed so I could bring some eggs home, I thought it was funny that I got my third trident in the world this easily. I was completely out of turtle eggs after projects like the gold farm took them all, so I needed at least a few of these to get the turtle farm started. I'm glad I'm never gonna have to do this in this world again. I spent so much time on this beach. Turtle eggs are good for a lot of farms. We've had about 20 in the gold farm alone, one in the storage system, we've used some for the bartering farm. They end up in so many weird places and farms throughout the world. I'll use this smaller glass room to breed them, and then I'll move the adults into the scute farm next to it. Baby turtles will fall into the water below these holes, fall on top of the hopper, grow up and drop their scutes. Let's not talk about the rest. I'll make a sniffer farm, but first I'm gonna need sniffers. So I collected a lot of eggs from the earlier farm that I had made. Let's get those hatched now. While these grow up, and apparently some of you like that I called the snifflets by their real name,
baby sniffers,
I used this time to collect the resources for another major project for today, the moss farm. A lot of our farms require bone meal, including some from today as you've seen. So my plan is to build a small 2x2x1 module version of the Chromos farm. This is basically one of the best bone meal farms you can make. I'm going to keep some of the moss because moss is pretty awesome for a lot of things, but we'll convert most of this to bone meal and shulker load the drops. A tutorial to build a small Chromos will be linked in the description, so check that out. I'll be doing a much larger version of this later in the series, but for now let's get this one built. All I need to do now is add a few more buckets of lava and we can get this bone meal farm started. Each module of this makes around 2,000 bone meal per hour, so this whole thing would make a full shulker in under 15 minutes. Because I did convert one module to just moss, however, this will make about 3/4 of that. After waiting around for a bit, working on storage and cleaning up the island a bit more, we have our first shulker of bone meal. Let's put some of that in the farms here and head back to the sniffers. Back home and the sniffers have hatched, so it's time to put together a bigger version of our earlier minecart collection and fence that in. Then the ridiculous task of moving sniffers. They move so slowly. So just open up the entire fence and just let them all loose. It's a mess now, but okay. You can put them on leads, it doesn't help. I just kept breaking the leads. Oh my gosh, you are so slow. Let's speed this up. Now after rearranging a few drops, this is where we're at. As I move into the building a lot more part of the game, I think it's important that we're not bottlenecked with small things like dyes. Glass, wool, carpet, terracotta, and more can be dyed, so today we're going to set up a bunch of flower farms to farm specific and sometimes harder to get colors. Our 2-high flower farm gives us red, magenta, pink, and yellow in bulk. A swamp flower farm will give us all the light blue dye. The design I'm using is by Nevermind Flame and was featured in Ian UForced tree farm video. I've used it earlier in the series for the Nether plants farm back near our tree farm. The farms use pistons to move the ground under the flowers, and a dispenser will bone meal the grass as it moves, and then everything will break instantly. This farm makes over 50,000 drops per hour, and every non-seed drop here will be blue orchids. Using bone meal in certain biomes gives very predictable results. If you bone meal the grass in a swamp, it'll always make blue orchids. There are now meadows with different colors flowers, so we'll head to a blue meadow next for cornflowers. Then flower forest will always bone meal the same flower at the same Y level, so those farms are predictable as well. If you bone meal a plains, you may end up with one of many kinds of flowers, so those farms are less predictable. I'll add a composting system that feeds back into the farm so any wheat seeds can be immediately composted back into more bone meal. Let's see how this works. That was easy. See how only blue orchids and seeds are made here? That's perfect. That's one flower farm done and 3 more to go. It's time to find a blue meadow. There's a small one here, but after checking it out, it wasn't quite good enough. But past our raid farm and guardian farms, I was able to find a much larger area of blue flower meadow. This one will work. Only cornflowers will grow here. Let's terraform this so it's a little bit flatter and get this farm done. Alright, we're going to turn it on, and as you can see, I can see it's done. Flower farm number 2 is completely finished and only produces cornflowers. What's up next was a shock to me. I was headed to a flower forest to set up an orange and light gray dye farm. Flower forests have what's called a flower map, and each spot is predictable based on what's around it. Red tulips will always spawn near orange tulips and never near poppies on the same Y level. I know what the flower map patterns look like a little bit, so when I saw one area in this flower forest, I was pretty shocked. Do you see what I see here? The rarest flowers to naturally spawn in a flower forest are lily of the valley. While they do spawn frequently here, it's not their actual world generation spawn. What that means is if you bone meal the same spot, unlike every other flower in a flower forest, lily of the valley will not reappear. Another flower will take its place instead. This is not true when the lilies are completely surrounded by cornflowers. This is their natural world generation spot, and a farm placed in one of these spots will always produce lily of the valley. As I said though, it's by far the most rare to find. I tested it by bone mealing the ground, and yes, a lily reappeared. I wasn't expecting to build this farm here at all, but I'm never going to pass up a chance to get a rare item, so I immediately went to work on that. And in just a few minutes I built this and we can test it out. I knew that it was going to work, but actually seeing it work is great. This is the first time I've ever had a proper working lily of the valley farm, and I didn't even know I'd find it when we started today. And the last farm for the flower forest is the orange and light gray one that I came to build. Now I can get every dye in bulk except for green, which can only mean one thing. After collecting some cactus to get started, it's time to build another simple farm. This time it's going to be a small cactus tower. I don't really need to go overboard on this as we have another source for lime dye and cyan dye, so this is only for the green. Shall we? With the new cactus farm done, it's now time for a few chores like feeding the turtles and the sniffers. I gotta clean up all the dark oak in this mangrove near our old villager trader. Then I need to trade. I'm not showing any more of these trades. I know what you're thinking. I've already built a super smelter, farms for netherwart, sea pickles, glowberries, lichen, coral fans, scutes, sniffers, bone meal, 5 types of flowers, and cactus. Surely I'm done, right? Let's head down to the church for a minute. This is where my 1000 day journey started. I said I wanted to create the most overpowered, crazy world I could, and here we are at the end of day 999. Along the way, I realized I had a chance to create something great, a world I would consider one of the best 1000 day hardcore worlds ever played. I've built over 50 farms, including some of the best farms in Minecraft already. I've found all armor trims, I've set up 17 sets of netherite, built a full auto storage, large super smelter, and a lot more. I've also built my starter home inside the pagoda with the dragon statues out front, a floating island nether portal, Compass Rose City Hub that's going to be a major part of our world in the future. I've found some new friends including the skelly horses, all 4 common axolotls, and Loki. I built a villager trading hall and this Buddha island. And as we look at this from above, there's a lot more to come in this spawn. I'm going to be adding to this city with a large arena, military training grounds, guild shops, residential area, some protective towers, and at least a couple of fantasy temples. And that's not even talking about the 2 builds I'm most excited about. So here we are. At the end of day 0, I stood up on top of this church and thought about what was to come for this world. After 1000 days in it, I'm still here. I'm still alive and I'm still standing on top of this church thinking about what's to come next. On screen are a few of the interesting stats for the world so far. I'm very proud of this first 1000 days in the world, and if you haven't caught up with the series, I'll have a couple of videos that'll help you do that soon. But right now, let's get to day 1000. That's it, I survived 1000 days in hardcore Minecraft. I said the words now, it must be true. I'm planning 2 more hardcore videos for this year, so look for those soon. Then we're gonna hit 2024 with a wicked episode. I'll see you then, goodbye.